Hello everyone.
Hi there.
Welcome to the 593 Fame and Fortune and Roadmap livestream.
It's amazing that you remember that off the top of your head.
Right. It's almost like I didn't have the ability to read it. Let us know, by the way, if there's any issues with audio. We're looking at the computer and like our camera's doing weird stuff. One of our monitors is doing some weird stuff. I think the video card's croaking. So let us know if there's anything amiss with the stream.
Might get a little more exciting than usual.
That's right. That's right. It's been a while since we've had a technical issue related to a stream, so that's which is a good thing. So
they say they can hear us.
Good.
That's encouraging.
Perfect. So today we're going to talk about Game Update 593, Fame and Fortune, which is on PTS. We'll get to that in a little bit, and coming out in September. And then, I guess we're in September, later this month.
Hey, what do you know?
And then if you
really snuck up on us.
Haven't seen the roadmap, I've linked it like 4 times in chat, but literally just go to SWTOR.com. It's the top news article. We'll be talking about everything that came in the surprise. There's a roadmap out today.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about some of that stuff, what's coming later this year. Cool. All right. Let's dive right on in. So here's what we're going to go through today. The welcome. I think we probably already technically did a welcome, but...
You're very welcome.
But
You're
welcome.
Extra welcome.
But extra, you are
We're
extra
very excited
welcome.
to have you.
Yep. We're going to talk about Game Update 593, Fame and Fortune, which is specifically around the Vanden Hutball map.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about PTS because it's on PTS right now, so you should go download it because we've already done one set of playtests and we'll be doing more in the future, so we want you to have the opportunity to play through that. The fall roadmap is live.
It's live and it's awesome.
Keith has surprised us all and been like, hey, here's everything that's happening this year. Not everything, but here's what's happening this year. We're going to talk about Game Update 5.10, Jedi Under Siege, which is coming later this year. And there is a whole lot in it.
Yeah, that's a big one.
A whole lot. And then we're not just specifically going to do a Q&A section, but if you have questions throughout at any point during the stream, please just put them in chat, and we'll do what we can.
Pause regularly and check out what people are talking about.
Yeah. Will Papa be joining us tonight? I have literally no idea where Keith is. So
Keith is a renegade agent.
Yeah,
he comes and goes as he pleases.
Yeah, so Keith could randomly start talking in chat. I have no idea if he's at his desk, if he's in meetings. I don't know. He's not currently planned to appear on the stream. Doesn't mean he won't. But he is not planning to stream.
Yeah.
So, okay. Here we go. So, we have a new Warzone. Awesomely called
The Sky Shredder.
Perfect.
That's my best Baron Death mark.
I like it.
I'm no Steve Bloom.
Yeah. So, do you want to talk a little bit about what the Sky Shredder is? And
yeah, I mean, pretty straightforward. It's a new Hutball map.
Yep.
A little more similar to the traditional Hutball than the oh my god, why can't I think of the name?
The Nar Shaddaa one?
No.
The Pit?
The Pit, no. It's more similar to Nar Shaddaa than it is to...
Quesh Ball.
Quesh Ball.
Quesh Ball.
I apologize.
What is the actual name of Quesh Ball? There's probably an actual name.
There probably is.
But it's just Quesh Ball.
Yeah, I haven't had my caffeine yet, so this may be extra interesting.
That's true.
So it's set on Vanden. That's the planet that everyone visited in Chapter 13 of Knights of the Fallen Empire, along with Galt and Vet. It's a very industrial kind of planet. Everything's up on these, very high up plateaus, hence the sky part of Sky Shredder.
Yep.
Which means you can conveniently be knocked right off of this thing and plummet to your doom.
That's
for
right.
An extra layer, or rather missing layer, of death.
That's right.
Also, you might be finding the health packs over near the ledges because we're mean.
Yep.
Or rather, Gerada the Hutt is mean.
Also true.
So you can kind of see a bit of the layout here on the screenshot. Of course, all of this is literally on PTS right now. So if you really want to check it out, just load into PTS and check it out.
Yep.
All these, we couldn't quite get them right in the screenshot here. All these red areas are where traps fire. So acid, poison, fire, electricity. They're definitely a little different this time around, and in some cases much deadlier. So definitely check those out, and we welcome your feedback on that and how you feel like they're playing.
Yeah. So some of the new things Charles highlighted there that are specific to the Vanden Hutball is there are new traps that you should expect to interact with a little differently than some of the ones you've seen in the other PvP maps. There's a grappling hook, which is obviously we want you to fall to your death off of the Sky Shredder, but if you have some quick fingers, you can save yourself from doing that.
Yep.
And plus some other surprises. So we definitely recommend that you take some time to go on PTS and try this stuff out for yourself. So one thing I wanted to highlight is, so we did a playtest last weekend. We did a Friday and Saturday. Thank you to everyone who was able to come out and help us. So right now the team is working on, just to give you a status update on some of that stuff, the team is working through a whole bunch of the changes. I'll try to get a list up later today of some of the stuff the team's looking at changing today. Some of it is around that it's a little bit punishing to get knocked down into the pit. It's hard to kind of get to people once they get past a certain number of traps. The grappling hook can be a little weird, and it overwrites your, for the hardcore PvPers, your throw the hut ball key binding. We're looking at making a bunch of those changes. So a lot of that feedback, your feedback was really instrumental in helping to make some of those changes that we're looking at doing. And I saw someone ask in chat, is the shielding and crit changes coming in? So right now, we are holding the next update to PTS until we get those changes in. Because it's pretty likely we'll only have one more round of changes on PTS before we go live later this month. So we want to make sure to get those changes in. So right now, tentatively, the plan is we'd like to get another PTS update this week. May or may not happen depending on whether we can get the shielding and crit changes done. If we can, it'll all go out this week and we'll do playtest this weekend. If not, we'll try to get those changes out early next week. This way we can have some playtest sessions kind of early and mid next week.
Yeah, overall, I really, really liked the feedback on the PTS for 5.9.2, so we really want to keep that going, and so far it's been going great, so we really appreciate everybody who's jumping in and giving us their thoughts.
Yep, 100%. All right, so for those that didn't see it, again, and actually let me put a link in chat since
there it is.
Since we're here. So feel free to go read the fall roadmap, or if you just hang out, we're about to tell you all the stuff that's listed in it anyway. And again,
if you want to read ahead,
yeah, because you may. I talk really fast, but you may be able to read faster than I can say it. So, and definitely let us know again if you have questions about 5.9.3 or 5.10 as we get into talking about it in chat. Let us know. We haven't grabbed any questions yet because we're rambling, but now that we get to the 5.10 stuff, now is I think when you're going to get a lot of questions about some of that stuff. Cool. So, waiting for the Kai Zyken joke. There it is. Was there a drinking game this time around it? Because
I didn't see a bingo.
Because I hadn't. That's true. I hadn't made a Kai Zyken joke or just yet, but now I have. Oh God, yes! Bring us Kai Zyken as a new companion. Take my money.
That's a great piece that's
right.
I shouldn't comment on.
Yep. Maybe someday, guys. Maybe someday.
Anything is possible.
That's right. Okay, so game update 5.10 Jedi Under Siege. So before we go into the specifics, which you can literally just read because they're on the screen, can you talk a little bit about, Charles, kind of what our goal was with 5.10, given how, like, with 5.9.2, we were trying to really, and actually, I guess, to
really
5.9, 5.9.3, like, we were really focusing on PvP and making a lot of those changes. Kind of where are we going with 5.10? Because this is a humongous update.
Yeah, so, over the summer, we've kind of been calling it the summer of PvP. We really wanted to focus on that area of the game. We felt like it had been a little underserved recently. And so we made that kind of our priority during that time period. So later this year, kind of making the transition back to more story. Obviously, this is going to be a big story update for us. It's got a new planet with a new daily area on that planet, focused on Sith and Jedi. So, it's really just kind of a comeback to that element of the game. And it's about kind of transitioning the story to the next stage. 5.9 really kind of ended the major storyline we were doing. Before, kind of tied off most of the Eternal Empire kind of plot points. So this one is about kicking off, it's sort of a prelude to the story that we'll be moving towards, all about the war between the Republic and the Sith Empire heating back up again, and the, really bad impacts that's having all over the galaxy.
Someone asked, I've seen this a couple times, what about Kira and Scourge? Since we're looking at the list, let's get that before we get into the list.
They were notably not mentioned, and I apologize for that. There is some really cool ground I really want to cover with those characters that I can't quite talk about. So they are still in progress. They are absolutely still coming. They just didn't quite fit into 5.10 because we did want to put a little more beef on that. So they're still coming. I'm very excited about it. I can't wait for everyone to see that. But for now, no news other than that it's coming.
Got it. All right, so let's run down through the list. So a new storyline.
Yep.
Based on the rivalry between the Sith and the Jedi.
Yes, absolutely. So it's, as mentioned in the roadmap, it's taking place on a really cool ancient planet that was badly destroyed or mostly destroyed. It's tricky in Star Wars. When you say a planet was destroyed, you have to specify that it was not actually completely obliterated.
Sure.
Just really messed up.
Yep.
It's going to be separate storylines, so separate quest lines for the Republic players and Imperial players. So kind of going back to how things were a bit in the past. So that's going to be a really cool element. Lots of new characters coming in that I'm really excited about. I can't wait for y'all to check them out and run around with them. We've also got a lot of returning characters, people that you haven't seen, in some cases, for many, many years, returning to the storyline and doing some cool stuff. So this is a lot of fun.
This is a really good question about this that I am confident you probably can't entirely answer. But given the things that happened on Iocath around that, what about people who are like they're an Imperial character and they started to side with the Republic, or a Republic character that started to side with the Empire? What happens in those situations?
So we can't quite talk about it yet, but yes, we know that obviously there are a lot of characters, a lot of players whose characters are interested in fighting for the opposite side. Like I said, I can't quite get into details, but we are very much aware of that. We very much set that up in the storyline on purpose. So you can look forward to seeing something that'll kind of get you moving in that direction.
Perfect.
Coming with this update.
Perfect. New planet.
New planet. New as in it has not appeared in the Old Republic as a playable space before. It is, in fact, an existing planet in lore.
Perfect. And we're not going to reveal what that is just yet
Just
today.
quite yet. Sorry, I know. Those of you who are super savvy on Old Republic lore can probably guess pretty accurately which planet it is.
Yeah, we've definitely seen some correct guesses already today. And a daily area.
Yeah. So it's a big explorable space. Both factions will be doing their missions through that shared space. Some cool instances. Got some cool. Whatever I'm going to say. We got some world bosses wandering around. We're going to have a storyline that you'll do first when you arrive at the daily area, and then daily repeatable missions, some of which are similar to the ones you do in the storyline, some of which are totally unique, that you'll be able to play through afterward.
Yep. So I realized I put Nightmare. Should say Master Mode. See, we do it too. This is literally my fault.
It happens.
Master Mode, or Nightmare, whatever you want to call it. Gods from the Machine. So I know we had talked about previously that we were not going to do Master Mode Gods from the Machine. Turns out we were wrong. and instead, we decided, but what if instead we do Master Mode Gods from the Machine?
That's true.
And I think that's just a testament to really just the passion that our ops guys especially have for building Gods from the Machine. This doesn't in any way change some of the future plans we have for larger group content, but this will be good because it's another. And I've heard some of the things that are going to happen in Master Mode's Gods from the Machine. I'm just terrified for all of you that are going to attempt this because, especially Matt, but those guys are sadistic, and it's going to be it's going to be rough. It's going to be real rough.
I saw a good question in there. Will the two storylines be more different from each other than they were on Iocath? Yes, absolutely.
And I saw a question earlier about when are the bugs going to be fixed for Gods from the Machine. So around 592 and 592A, there was some changes. Funny enough, some of the some of the Master Mode mechanics and changes that were incomplete accidentally slipped in and overwrote some of the veteran stuff, which is why it was harder than intended in most cases. We fixed some of that in 592A, but the rest of the fixes are planned for 593. There's actually a thread in the bug report forum where we're specifically talking about tracking the issues that you've seen in Gods from the Machine. Please make sure to let us know in there if there's anything that isn't already named so that we're aware and we can fix the remaining issues. But 593 is the intent of when those will be addressed. Tier 5 gear. And this is something that I've seen quite a few questions about. We specifically pointed out that all of Tier 5 gear will be crafted. Yep. The team definitely has a goal of trying to making sure crafting is valuable, and especially as we look at endgame and stuff like that. So we don't have a ton of details just yet to reveal, but we'll do so as we get closer. We know this is something that all of you definitely have some pretty strong opinions about on whether it should come from crafting, what those materials will be, who that stuff's accessible to. Again, obviously the intention is that you want to get this as a reward for participating in Master Mode operations or working towards defeating Master Mode operations, so you should expect that to be involved. Yeah. But we'll have more details on that as we get down the line, and we'll make sure, like all things, again, we want to get your feedback on it to make sure that we're going about that stuff the right way. So that's kind of what you can expect for that gear.
Cool.
Guild improvements.
Yeah, very excited about this.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, right? People have been talking to us about having quality of life, specifically quality of life changes for guilds. And not only are we doing quality of life stuff, we're also doing whole new systemic stuff right on top of it for guilds.
Yeah, so we've got cool progression elements, which you'll get to chew into a little bit more later as we give the details on that. But giving you something for your guild to pursue in and of itself, not just about the activities you're doing, but having all of those activities contribute to a larger goal. Heraldry, pretty straightforward. Giving some customization options that you can display. That will not be. I'm willing to say this now. That will not be I free draw whatever I want and it appears on my character. Y'all can probably guess why we don't do that.
Guildy McGuildface.
But
the nice version of that.
Should be very cool. And PvP challenges, we're hoping to set things up so that you can actually challenge another guild to a war zone, like a specific war zone, like say, hey, we want to play Vanden Hutball. We want to hit the Sky Shredder against your guild. You can set up a custom match that will only invite the people involved. Let's see, conquest improvements. That's ongoing. We're always looking to tweak and improve the conquest system.
Yep, there's going to be things that at least in early talks about the way that some of the progression and some of that stuff works that ties into conquest. And so coming off of the conquest revamp that we did previously, we know that we may not have hit the mark on all things for sure. And so this will give us another opportunity to kind of revisit some of that, really get your feedback when we get on PTS for 5.10, which again, the intention is that this will be on PTS, and so we can really get your feedback around some of that stuff that's kind of gotten in there. So before you get to the management, some of the questions that I've seen pop up is, are we going to expand the Galactic Command levels to account for a new tier of gear?
We are not.
Nope.
Not at this time.
Correct.
We probably will at some point do that.
Potentially, right.
But for this stuff, we didn't feel like that was the way to go.
Yep, that is going to stay the same. Are we going to have any rebalances for veteran and story mode of Gods from the Machine now that Nightmare is coming in?
Not in the plans right now.
Okay. Really? I thought there were some changes.
Maybe.
I thought that there
I say that's not in the plans. That doesn't mean Matt isn't doing it.
Correct. I do think there might be some changes that are in as a part of it. They may not happen right away. It may be that they're coming after 5.10. That may be why we're crossing the streams on that. But potentially. And definitely let us know if that's the kind of thing that you're like, please make those much easier, because we're not going to get anywhere near master mode, and we want to be able to do story and veteran, which is understandable because those fights are super, super hard. Someone asked, how does it work for Sis that chose the Republic? So we answered this a little bit earlier, but we're not going into specifics yet, but it will be accounted for in the story.
Yeah, we are not going to forget that you have sided with opposite factions, and we will give you some options going forward because of that.
Yep. All right, so why don't we hit the guild management stuff, and I'll see if I can pull some other questions.
Yeah, so guild inspect, that's fairly straightforward, being able to learn a little bit more about another player's guild. All right.
Let us know. I'm going to give it a second to make sure the stream catches up. It looks like we should be good now.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
We're good. Sorry about that. Welcome back, guys. Yeah. I don't know what happened. Again, I don't know. Someone brought up that Twitch has been having some issues. I actually think this was ours. It looked like our connection in the room dropped for some reason. But we should be back and cruising now. So.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll keep it going.
Okay. Why don't we start over from
the
management section? Yeah.
Guild so talking about features in terms of managing your guild. First new one we're doing is Guild Inspect. That's going to let you kind of click on another player and learn more about their guild, and let you kind of control how much information is shared about your guild. We're hoping that eventually, kind of past 5.10, leads to overall better systems for putting your guild out there, making your guild visible for people who are looking to join.
Yep.
Logging. This is super boring sounding, but it's super useful. This is essentially just better and more visible logging of all the activities that happen in a guild.
Yeah. I actually saw someone ask earlier, what exactly is going to be in that log? So one of the things to keep in mind with kind of all this is, we're not going into super details just yet, but also part of it, and actually similarly I saw someone ask, want to have the ability to tax your guild. So for all of these things, once we start breaking down details and we get closer to PTS, please let us know your feedback on all this stuff, right? Yeah. So if there's something, when you see all of the stuff that can be logged, if it doesn't cover the wishes of things that you want to be covered in there, let us know. And it's something that we can look at doing. Actually, as a tag on to that, I can give you an example. So when we made the changes to Conquest so that the review period was much shorter, the review period was basically an hour, part of that was leading up to some of the changes that are coming in 5.10. And so one of the things we're looking at doing is that, and can't guarantee this is going to happen, but it's one of the things we'd like to do is that when you complete a Conquest, what if it logged what the contribution was of all your guild members into the guild log. This way, even though the review period is only an hour, you still have time after that conquest is concluded to review that information. So that's something that I already grabbed from your feedback before you knew this was a system. So now that you know it's a system, definitely keep in mind the kind of things that you'd want to make sure we can track in here. So that goes for everything that we're talking about, as always, which is one of the reasons we tell you when we can and why we try to put it on PTS, is to get that feedback. So
mail improvements. So, having the ability to mail everyone in your guild if you are a guild leader, and share messages a little more quickly, give better communications. Ban by legacy. If you have someone who keeps joining your guild under different names, under different characters, well, now you'll be able to ban all of them.
Yep. And I know that one of the logical follow-up questions is going to be, will I be able to ignore other players by legacy and do some of that stuff? I don't believe that is tied to this exact functionality. It doesn't work the same way, so it's not like doing one gives us the other. But we know that that's definitely something that's highly requested and something we're always looking at trying to add.
Yes. and more ranks. So essentially giving you the option to increase the number of ranks. I want to say it's a fairly dramatic
I think it is a
the number of ranks you can have.
I think
Sorry,
so
I don't
too.
know the number off the top of my head, and it'll probably change a little bit as we get closer anyway. But giving you the option to greatly expand the number of ranks that you can apply to members of the guild, and also the permissions that those different ranks have.
What if they change the legacy name? So you may see them as, hey, this person's legacy name is Musco or Boyd.
Yeah.
That's not how we see it.
Yeah.
From our side, it's the person.
Yeah, we see behind.
We see your true person, and we make sure that changing your name wouldn't avoid that.
Yeah.
That wouldn't work that way.
Yeah.
You may not realize it's the same person, but the system does. So you don't have to worry about stuff like that. And like always, if someone finds some way to game that system, that's bad. Let us know, and we can, one, stop them from being a jerk pants, and two, make sure the system covers for stuff like that. So, that's all the guild stuff. It's pretty robust. There's a tremendous amount coming. I know in here it just looks like I made it real minimal to 2 bullets, but it's a pretty massive overhaul. There's a lot of really cool stuff coming to guilds, and this will be, again, this is the kind of thing that we're really, really, really going to want your feedback as much as we can as we get closer. And I think because I know people will be asking about timing, a lot of the details around this stuff will probably start coming out after 5.9.3, so probably like early October, right? That's when you should start to expect to see a lot more details about some of this stuff as well. Last but certainly not least on the list, Charles.
Yeah.
We have some companions coming back.
Yes, several companions coming back with 5.10, all along with that daily area as part of that story. Some more tied into the story than others, but generally part of that. We've got Doc and Nadia on the Republic side, and we've got currently Dark Side Jaisa coming on Imperial side. We are also hoping to do a couple more. We're not quite putting them out there yet because we're not 100% sure they'll make it. But they're absolutely in the plan right now, so hopefully you'll get to see them.
Yep.
This is going to be some very fun stuff.
Charles, I promise. Charles is still on his commitment of getting you your companions back.
As many as I can get.
Yep. So I saw someone ask, they asked this for Nadia, but really this would be a question for all of them. Are they going to have updated appearances when they come back?
We typically at least give them an updated gear set, like a new kind of a refreshed outfit. We don't typically change their faces, and if anything, we want to have them look the way that you customized them back in the day. I know there's still that bug on Iocath where Alara and Quinn don't, but that's not intended.
Right.
So we don't plan to have them start with updated looks. They should look the way you remember them. We have talked about, though, offering some new companion customizations, not just for the returning characters, but characters in general. It's something we haven't really done a lot of lately, and we'd be interested in doing more of if y'all are interested in.
Right. So one of the questions I saw was, will we rebalance operations at all across the game, given there's a new tier of gear? No. The answer would be no. We know that by adding a new tier of gear, one, it's extremely hard to get a new tier of gear whenever it comes into the game. It's intended to be for progression players. Everyone's, of course, going to want it, but it's intended to be for progression-oriented players. But no, if you can get tier 5 gear, yep, it's going to make other content in the game quite a bit easier. So,
can you break up with existing romances for these returning characters? Yes, you can, just like you have been able to do with every returning companion. If you are in a romance, if you have started a romance with a different character and then your original romance returns, you can break that and go back.
I saw a question, especially related to the fact that we just came off the PvP summer, if we're looking into desync issues that happen in PvP. So desync is one of those things that is a constant. It's one of those things that's performance-oriented in the game, so it's something that the team is always looking at. And again, if you ever have any details or anything additional to provide about why stuff like that happens, why you see those issues, please feel free to send them on. But our engineering team is always looking at stuff like that to try to make improvements to stop that kind of stuff from happening. Yeah. So it's always something we're aware of.
Chem romance, please. Noted.
What about Lightside Jaisa? I saw a couple questions about Lightside.
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, Lightside Jaisa is one of those that we are hoping will make it into this update. We're just not quite ready to commit to that yet, but it is in the plan.
Yep. I saw a question about RP guilds. Since we're making a lot of guild improvements, is there something specific in here targeted at RP guilds?
I don't know that there are specific guild features for RP guilds. There is a new other feature we're doing that's pretty good for RPers.
Yep, it's definitely something.
Not anywhere in the roadmap at all, but
Correct.
We'll mention it anyway.
Yep.
We've got cool new decorations. I believe we're calling them Hollow Disguise decorations or Disguise terminals. They essentially let you change the overall appearance of your character to look like something completely different. I don't think I can talk about what kinds of things those definitely are,
Correct.
but that can include fairly straightforward stuff like Republic soldier, Imperial agent kind of looks, to much more outlandish stuff like making yourself look like a Hutt or an astromech droid or those kinds of things.
Right.
We'll have more specifics on that when that actually comes out,
Yep.
But it's aiming for 593, I believe.
Yep. And that would be something you can only do in your stronghold.
Yeah,
just
yeah. So
to
that would be
clarify.
limited to your stronghold, but intended for our peers to use to, broaden their options.
Yep. Release date for 510. We're not talking
Later this year.
Later this year, correct? Yeah, we're not,
sorry.
not talking specifics just yet. And I just one thing I do want to reiterate because it's something we talked about with 592 a little bit. Obviously, we've enforced it in 593. We haven't told you the release date for 593 either, and it's going to be the same with 510. In that one of the things we're trying to move towards is give you better timelines on PTS. And then dependent on what we see from PTS, based on your feedback on whether you're comfortable with where the update is, whether we're comfortable with where the update is, then we'll start to move towards release dates. So again, we put Vanden out on PTS last week.
Yep.
And things went really well. In general, it was largely well received. Definitely some changes that need to happen, but nothing monumental. So we're pretty comfortable that we'll definitely be able to get it out in September based on current timeframes, but we still haven't told you that date yet either because we're still waiting to see that. So
Yep.
No date yet for 510, but definitely in the next
Few months.
couple months you'll see
Yeah.
PTS, and then sometime in 2018 you'll see the release of that, depending on where that comes from.
My thoughts on Musco in karaoke is that he's amazing at it.
That is
We have
factual.
absolutely done karaoke before,
Yeah.
and it is a thing.
Yep, and I'm a terrible singer, and you don't want it.
I don't think karaoke's fun if you're a good singer.
I know, probably
you need
not.
to be bad.
Probably not. I also have a bunch of people pointing out that I'm way more gray this time. I'm always this gray, just my
Yeah.
hair is not usually this long, so usually you can't see it. So it's
Yeah.
trimmed down a little bit. But I appreciate that you are paying attention to
watching for our slide into obsolescence.
Right, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, as we get older. Okay, let's see. We have my watch is displaying weird stuff.
Got a few more minutes?
Yeah, we got a few more minutes, so we can take a few more questions.
Yeah.
Can we fix the bug on Musco's face? It makes the game unplayable. I'm sorry. I've been trying for 34 years. It's nothing.
I saw a question about customization for Twi'leks. So it's not just Twi'leks who are affected by this, but there are certain aspects of our player character customization system that were apparently created by an insane person because apologies to whoever that was. Probably not your fault. They are very oddly much more difficult to implement. I can't really go into the details, and frankly, I don't think it would really make much sense anyway. It's bizarre. Why should a Twi'lek be any harder to customize than a human? But in many cases they are, and so we are absolutely aware of the desire for more customization options there and are working to do it. We just don't have a specific time frame that we can talk about yet.
Yep. Some of the PvP stuff that I've seen, because I've seen like a few interrelated things. Top 96 rewards have actually already started going out. I think most of which went out today, some of which will finalize tomorrow. So all of that should be wrapped up. In fact, there was a few people, I'll just put this out there, there was a few people that we got wrong, that we should not have hit as part of the stuff we did in Season 9. So we're in the process of correcting that to get them their rewards. Same as opposite, in that there's some people that got their rewards that shouldn't have, so we're taking care of that. So all the Season 9 stuff will wrap up this week. And then going forward, again, Season 10 will have a preseason where you won't actually get your rewards till Season 11 starts. So we'll have that time frame to clean up some of that stuff. So that should all happen in there. I saw some questions about when will you learn about rewards, what those brackets are. Our goal is to get you that sooner than later. The brackets are tricky because if you haven't figured it out, brackets are largely based on where percentage of players lie. So it actually moves every season depending on where players are in the ratings. So we have to do that somewhat towards the end, but we still want to try to get that and the reward information out just a little bit sooner. And then the last thing I saw is class balance changes. Are we working on any class balance changes in the short term?
No, I don't think so in the short term. Again, unless something comes up where we discover an exploit or some kind of odd behavior that we're not currently into, but no plans for class balance changes in the immediate future.
Okay. I've seen quite a few questions about Tier 5 gear. Will it allow you to craft specific mods, specific armings? Again, we'll go into all that stuff when we get a little bit closer, because some of that stuff is still in flux and being designed as we speak. So no information on it. No other specifics to share on Tier 5 just yet. So yeah, so no class balance in the short term. We'll do this as the last question because I've seen it actually a couple times. Koth, question mark?
Yes. I don't have anything specific to Koth coming up yet, but that does not mean it's because we don't want to or because we don't like him. I
don't
love
like
Koth.
him.
Musco doesn't like
I don't
Koth.
like him.
I
was like,
Koth.
what's the question? Koth is dead. I don't understand what the question is about.
I love Koth. I love the guy who plays Koth. I love everything about him. So just because we haven't had a place for him lately doesn't mean I don't ever want to. So I definitely seen that feedback, and we'll look for an opportunity to get him back in the story a little more again.
All right. Well, that takes us to our 30 minutes. Again, if you haven't, I'll put the link again in chat. Please go read through the entire roadmap. We largely covered most of the stuff that's in there. But 593 on PTS. Please go play it. Right now, there's not much you can really play unless we have a playtest session going on because you won't be able to get into Hubball. But keep your eyes on the forums and social and stuff, and we'll announce when the next playtest session will be. And then that'll come out sometime later in September. And then 510, I know you guys are looking for more details. Great. We'll have them. Look for that to start coming out sometime early October. So probably first, second week of October is when you'll start seeing a lot more details coming out about that, along with 510 PTS details and release date information, all that stuff. So definitely want to get more of that stuff out there. Cool.
All right.
Well, thank you guys very much.
Yeah, I really appreciate y'all coming and chatting with us.
Yeah, hopefully you were happy with the fact that we gave information. I know there's always some cynicism when we're doing a live stream of like they're not going to say anything, but you probably didn't expect that we're also going to put out the roadmap today to highlight what's coming out the rest of the year. So hopefully you're happy with the fact that you can kind of have a good idea. You have a roadmap, you might say, of what's coming for the rest of the year.
It's true.
So, cool. All right. Well, thank you guys, and we'll see you on our next live stream, which I don't know when that'll be, but probably in October actually, because we'll probably do a live stream to talk
go
about
over the additional details.
Yeah, to start really pumping out some details on 510. So I would say I'd probably expect in a few weeks, in the beginning of October is likely when we'll do the next stream. So and look, because I'll probably have more gray, because that's how this goes now. All right, guys, thank you very much, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.